Hello, beautiful humans. My name is Annie, and this is Holy Hell Hope. This is a project I've been working on for a while, and it is named Holy Hell Hope because those are the things that matter most to me. I believe that the holy represents and refers to everything that is good and true and meaningful and human and humane and beautiful. And hell is may or may not be a place down somewhere with fire, but is a state of being for a lot of people who are suffering in everyday life. And then there's hope, which is, of course, the thing that makes it possible to survive hell. And makes it possible to keep your eye on the holy, whatever that means to you. And I'm not trying to get super religious at you, but I am a minister. I've been a minister for 12 years, ever since campus ministries. In my university years, I was the spiritual formation coordinator. So my job was to create what I called God moments, opportunities for my random classmates to encounter one another, encounter themselves, encounter the big ideas in ways that they never had before and didn't particularly want to, but maybe they were curious about what weird stuff I was doing over there. And that really got me started on my ministry. I really wanted to connect to people on a deeply humane way and help them to unleash their potential as humans. And my professional training after seminary was as a end-of-life chaplain, specifically palliative care, so in the hospital context. I also have hospice experience. And the past 3 years, the entire Trump election and administration, I have been working for a suicide hotline, which, as you can imagine, is interesting. That's how I found out that he was elected. I was on the lines, and I started getting calls from folks who were realizing that the world wasn't gonna make sense anymore after November 2016. That power doesn't work the way that we think or would want to think. And so many of us, especially millennials, but not only, but so many Americans today are non-religious. They don't necessarily believe in God at all. And in fact, people are becoming, more and more people are becoming enthusiastically atheistic. And I can't blame them. I can't. In fact, I'm going to do a whole video on, I'm pretty sure I'm going to call it, I tried to be an atheist, but I'm just an angry theist. I digress. A lot of folks were taught to think that absolute truth exists, that there is a definitive, solid, end of discussion truth that can be attached to any question, anything in reality. But then the digital revolution happened. Maybe it's still happening. I don't know how historians are going to break that shit down, but with the digital revolution, we became more aware of, able to be aware of just about anything. We could actually see other people's experiences. We could begin to appreciate that something that is very, very true is still going to have exceptions. And right now we're beginning to realize that includes just about everything that seemed true, at least for me. I was hugely disillusioned by the election of Trump because I am a humanist, clearly. I'm a political progressive also, really, really politically interested and engaged, but I am a humanist. I love people. They can be super shitty, lots of times. And I did know that. I did. But I wanted to believe that America was not going to elect a bad person. But we did. So, digital revolution. We're able to see that truths are not absolute. We begin to be more and more postmodernist, which is an idea that I would love to do an entire video on in case anybody's interested. But we became more flexible and relative in our thinking, and a lot of us got to the point where we did not believe that there was a supernatural power in charge who was going to save the day. We could argue theologically, and I love to do that, about whether it's possible for a supernatural being to have that power and maybe just not be using it, in which case that power's an asshole. Or, I'm all over the place here. Setting my theological angst aside, the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of us have gotten to the point where we do not believe in ghosts and fairies, and we also do not believe in what would be derisively referred to by skeptics as Sky Daddy. So we do the best that we can with the power that we can access. And heck yeah, political activism, and heck yeah, all kinds of excellent, good work going on out there. But the work that I do is with people's insides, which is less creepy than it sounds. Essentially, I've become more and more aware of the fact that Americans today, and this may be true elsewhere, but we're not good at talking about what matters. We don't have practice. We don't have protocols for constructively discussing with one another the things that actually matter to us. And the problem with that is that we're realizing that things matter to us that didn't necessarily matter before. I didn't give a fuck about being an American until a few years ago. And then as all of our social norms began to fall like dominoes, and all kinds of institutions were actively undermined, it just became really, really disillusioning. And quite frankly, I turned to witchcraft. The witch bit might not necessarily be surprising considering all the spiritual whatnot over my shoulder, but as far as I can tell, witchcraft has been about wise and bossy women who are willing to show up when things are hard, and who will remind you that things can get better, and that it comes down to using what you have to do what you can. And that's really at the heart of the work that I do at the Suicide Hotline, and also at the heart of what I would like to do, to offer to people through this channel. Over the 3 years that I've been working at the Suicide Hotline, I have noticed that there are a lot of patterns in the ways that, especially young adults, but humans in general, are grappling with, trying to figure out how to live the life that we're doing here. Trying to figure out what the hell's going on, right? So I want this channel to be an opportunity for folks such as myself to ask those questions, and I want to help you figure out some answers in terms of working with what we've got. I got lots of stuff. I got lots of information, a lot of experience, a lot of interesting stories and anecdotes, and I would like to be open to your questions, especially if they are heartfelt. If there's something on your mind and on your heart that has been messing with your head, something that just doesn't make sense, especially if it's philosophical or religious or spiritual or esoteric, just ask. I'm really interested in talking with you guys, because I want to be here with Holy Hell Hope, not just as a minister, but also as a weirdo, to create a place for myself, a safe place where some of us can wander in and be like, Okay, so you guys all see what's going on out there, right? Like, shit's gone crazy. What the heck are we supposed to do with this information? And incidentally, that process of discerning what to do with what you're learning, how to integrate these ideas, and how to expand your perspective, shift your paradigm, it's really really difficult. It's a lot, especially for a lot of us who can't afford a bunch of psychotherapy, I guess. So folks do use what they have, and a lot of folks are getting interested in tarot cards, which I've got an awful lot of back over there. And the moral of the story is, if there is something on your heart that you want help with, if there's a question that's been weighing on you about the universe, about human beings, about why we do what we do, and or what the hell we're doing here, I would love for you to ask me, because I am really, really interested in engaging wherever you guys might be. So, on a more practical note, with this new channel comes a Twitter. I have one now. It's at symbol, Holy Hell Hope, no punctuation. I will figure out how to be interesting on that. And I absolutely will consider and be responsive to any sincerely offered feedback on this video in terms of my presentation, lighting, audio, whatever. I will be responsive to any sincere feedback. But it's got to be sincere. Because BT dubs, I know I'm fat. That's not news to me. We're on the same page here. So please don't just be here to give me shit. I'm excited to get real with folks. And if you feel similarly, I really hope that you'll consider, I guess, subscribing and hitting like. And I think there's a bell. But thank you for spending a few minutes with me. And blessings to you.